Our session is about to begin in 10 minutes. Please get comfy in your couches as we get ready for an afternoon of learning and insights from the industry's leading experts. We would like to thank our official partners for making this event initiative possible. E-learning partner, OLearn, Geyser Maklang, Analytics, Data, Advertising, Esquire Financing, Fueling Dreams, Hey Maya, Angkas, PMCM Events Management, Tony Bilang, the total host.
Hi, good afternoon.
All right. Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. And my name is Tony Bilaro, and of course, I am joined by my beautiful co-host for this afternoon, na Miss ko siya, Miss Mai Sandico, and we will be your moderator for the second phase of Zomato Philippines' first ever digital event. Miss Mais, kamusta?
Oh, thank you so much, Tony. How are you? It's very, very hot nowadays.
I know, summer na. Hindi na mapipigilan ng summer. Daramdam ko na rin ang summer, Miss Mais.
And we have a very hot topic for today. It's all about helping the restaurants, businesses. And we're very glad that we have a very special guest from
Yes.
Esquire. That's later. That's a surprise for everyone. But before we start the program, we encourage all our viewers to post about the event using our official hashtags, which you will see also on your screen. That's hashtag ZomatoPH, hashtag QuarantinePH, hashtag Quarantine2020, hashtag Soma Talks. Of course, yeah.
Siyempre, so everyone, we're encouraging you again, even if this is a digital event or since this is a digital event, we are encouraging you to be interactive. We have our live comment section here. Just go ahead and comment. You have questions, you have comments, you are free to do that. But of course, to officially start off our digital session, here to give us an introduction, of course, Mr. Chris Evans, the business head for Zomato Philippines. Chris.
Good afternoon. Hi, Tony. Hi, Mice. Good to see you
Hi,
again.
good to see you
Hi,
again,
Chris.
Chris.
Happy hump
Oh.
day.
How's everything?
Happy hump
Good.
day.
And
Yes.
good afternoon, everyone joining us. Again, welcome to day 2 of quarantine, supporting the food industry in the time of crisis, a 3-day digital event initiative of Zomato Philippines. Welcome back to those of you who joined us on day 1. Day 1 was all about branding, where we invited esteemed speakers from ADA Asia and Geyser McClang to tackle how to better position your brands in the middle of this challenging situation, not just now, but into the future. In case you missed that, you may check them out on Zomato's Facebook page for the replay and or the replay of the live stream and share them with all of your restaurateur colleagues. Today, we focus on something that's pretty important to any business, but right now, finance is a huge deal. So today we'll be focusing on finance in your restaurant. During the registration, we received many questions about this topic. Things like, how do you continuously provide salaries for employees? How do we sustain operational expenses? And where do we get the money to fund marketing campaigns when we come out of this in what's going to be surely a competitive environment? So these are just some of the concerns that we received from you guys. And our goal for today's session is to look for answers and ways to solve these challenges, together with finance expert Mr. Rajan Uttamchandani of Esquire Financing. Raj is joining us today and will gather with us a short presentation followed by a Q&A, which is the key to what we're trying to achieve with the quarantine sessions. We encourage you to ask as many questions through the live chat as possible so that Raj can address those at the end of his presentation. We are, of course, gathered virtually as Zomato aims to continuously create cutting-edge technology to connect restaurant businesses and customers in a way that revolutionizes the restaurant industry. Given, of course, the drastic adjustments, our objective is still to help every single business in the F&B industry move forward in this time of uncertainty. So right now, it's time to sit back and relax, enjoy the presentation, and again, be sure to ask lots of questions at the end. And let's continue to discover new insights and recover together. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Chris, for very insightful and giving us a heads up of what's going to happen for today.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Looking forward.
Yeah. So, guys, before we give our speaker for today, let's read some of the beautiful comments from our participants and viewers
Yes.
from May 4. We have here Feliz Lim Perez. Bravo. Really enjoying this. So many good ideas and great information.
Yes, and we have really a lot of overwhelming responses from our viewers last Monday. One of which from Cello Pedro, watching from QC, been waiting for a discussion like this since the ECQ started. So salamat Zomato Philippines for having this kind of webinar. Marami talaga nag-aabang ng ganito.
Okay, so from Gachi Gatchalian, very good ideas and suggestions from Miss Amor. Actually, I took down a lot of notes on how to face current challenges of the restaurant industry. It is a problem. There is definitely a solution. So creativity
Yes.
is the king during these times, Tony.
Yeah, so if you will notice talaga kahapon, we talked about a lot of possible solutions, a lot of options and alternatives for restaurant owners. And syempre, we talked about branding. We'd also like to give a shout out then to our viewers who's watching all the way from Zamboanga, Pangasinan, Laguna, Tarlac, Cagayan. Ayan, nandyan sila.
Batangas,
Batangas,
Zamboanga,
Manila. Ayan. So, again, join your conversation, guys. Just comment lang po. And we have a lot of things in store for you for sure.
I'd like to say shout out to Sir Reggie, the president of BNI Star. Good job, Mice. Good job, then, Press. Thank you for watching all the BNI Star chapter. So, hindi na natin patatagalin. But guys, if you have any questions or suggestions, insights about the speaker's presentation, please just comment on our live comments, and we'll try our best to read all your questions. But before the May 4, we have already gathered some questions from our participants. Actually, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, so I think this will be a very productive and insightful afternoon. And with that said, Miss Mice, once again, everybody, welcome to day 2 of #Quarantine, supporting the food industry in the time of crisis. Now, from branding last Monday, we are now up to another very exciting topic, which is financing your restaurant.
That's right, Tony, our esteemed guest speaker. Of course, he has a very nice background, and he is a esteemed speaker today, the president and CEO of Esquire Financing Incorporated, a leading financing company with significant operations in the Philippines, not just in the Philippines, but also in India, Middle East, and other parts of Asia. Rajan holds a bachelor's degree in corporate finance and accounting from Bentley College and a master's in entrepreneurship from the Asian Institute Management. He also finished the Key Executive Program and Owner and President Management Program at Harvard Business School. He has taken up courses in innovation at Stanford University, scaling up at London Business School, and completed a fintech programmer at Oxford University. He is a serial entrepreneur with over 20 businesses around the world and is involved with growing small and medium enterprises, working within the realm of finance and business development for over 15 years. I'm so excited to introduce to you Mr. Rajan Uttamchandani. Hi, Rajan.
Hello. Thank you, Mais.
Welcome to our second phase of Zomato's quarantine. And we're so excited to hear your presentation. And brace yourself. There's a lot of questions, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you. I'll try and keep my presentation short, Tony, and try and leave a lot of time for questions.
All right, so take it away, Rajan.
Okay, I've prepared a few slides for everyone. And at any point, if you want me to stop and answer a few questions, just let me know. So the Philippines really has about 1 million registered businesses, about 4.5 million unregistered businesses. This contributes to about 99.5% of MSMEs, and they generate about 60% of the employment, but contribute about 35% of GDP. So just to understand a little bit about the virus, we're quite early in terms of testing. We're one of the earliest to lock down, but one of the later countries to actually start testing. It's good that we've locked down for about 8 weeks now. So we've had 4 resets. You can see that the number of cases in the Philippines has grown steadily. We've had a linear growth to about 9,000 compared to what could have been 45 or 50,000 at this point in time. So the fact that we were locked down early, we've actually slowed down the number of cases in the Philippines. What's interesting is that 80% or 85% of cases are actually minor or not severe cases. Only about 20% of cases actually need hospitals, and close to 5% need ICUs, and 4% of that need ventilators. So even though that the transmission rate is quite high, the severity of this virus or this pandemic is quite low compared to the previous MERS and SARS virus that affected other parts of the world early this decade. You can see that hospital capacity is still underutilized. At 9,000 cases, we're still underutilized in terms of hospital beds, ICUs, and ventilators. At about 20,000 capacity, we would have reached the previous utilization. But the government has actually built quarantine quarters to handle even up to 50,000 cases. So this is a great move in terms of what the country has done to be prepared to fight this virus. Even in terms of PPEs and masks and surgical equipment, we have close to 60 days worth of supply in the backup with the OCD. So we're quite well positioned to really open up the economy, and in case there is a surge in cases, it looks like the Philippines is well positioned to be able to handle this type of pandemic. What's really good are there are programs that are administering strong testing policies. So corporations have now contributed over 1 million rapid test kits and close to 20 labs that are going to use the PCR machines to build testing capacity. So as testing capacity scales up, similar to what the testing czar said, Vince Dizon, as testing capacity builds up, we'll be really well positioned to open up the economy and return to what we think will be the new normal or normalcy. Of course, this ECQ has affected a lot of businesses, especially in the NCR area. Only 2% of businesses are full in operations. Most businesses have limited operations or no operations at all. You can see that outside NCR, nationwide, actually it's about 35% of businesses have now come back online. So there is somewhat of a pickup outside NCR or Metro Manila and in the Visayas and Mindanao region of businesses that have reopened. The big problem for MSMEs is really cash flow. Restaurants, being the prime target of this, have about a 16 days cash buffer. Most businesses have an average of about a 27-day cash buffer. But with restaurants, because they're subject to daily sales and purchasing of inventory on a daily basis, usually they don't keep as large a cash buffer. And what's really important now is to really look at your cash conversion cycle. How do you convert your inventory into cash? How do you convert your receivables into cash? How do you delay some of your payables to be able to conserve cash? So these are some of the things that a restaurant has to do in terms of changing the game. One is moving from a high fixed rent model to a more of a variable rent model. And I know the malls have been very accommodating in this type of new model. Communication, being transparent with your customers, being transparent with your employees of the goals of what you have hope to achieve. People, at this point in time, it's really important to take care of your people. Your employees are your biggest asset. So if you can retain your people and retrain them to reposition within your organization, of course, that would be the most ideal situation. And then preparing a plan, forecasting cash flows, and executing the best you can. So this is some of the current messaging that restaurants have. You can see that a lot of them have either emphasized their delivery, emphasize the fact that they're serving sanitized meals, emphasize that they're using social distancing in preparing their meals. And this is really what's important to communicate to survive. The new norms include being clean, being healthy, disinfecting, social distancing, focusing really on pickup and delivery rather than the in-restaurant dining experience. So what I think the new model is, the Resto 2.0, is applying some sort of technology, providing some sort of value add to your customers, and of course, providing the best food possible at the best price possible. So really, I think the restaurants have to reposition themselves, figure out what the purpose of them being around is, so what their vision is as a restaurant, what they want to do for their people, and place is really the last thing on their mind. So the retail location is probably the least important thing out of all of the 4 or 5 factors that a restaurant has to consider. One of the brands that I think is doing a great job is the Draft and Brewery Group. They've served 9,000 meals to frontliners. For every meal that you're buying, they're sharing a meal with people in poverty. And so these type of programs, I think, are great programs. I think the Draft and Brewery Group, headed by a few friends of ours, did a really good job by trying to pivot early. One of the other companies I'm involved with is the Farm at San Benito, and their restaurant and hotel business has pivoted towards COVID prevention programs, vitamin C infusions. We work with Juju to do the juice cleanses. And so it's really important to figure out what sort of pivot you'll have in the new normal. Of course, we'd be operating with complete social distancing. Our medical center would really be at the forefront of the hotel business, and the restaurant would only be open for takeout or delivery. So these are some images of restaurants in other countries, and what sort of partitions they've implemented, what sort of social distancing, maximum 4 to a group, and really trying to be able to provide the in-restaurant dining experience without sacrificing health and safety. So sanitizing measures have to be in place, testing measures for employees have to be in place, safety measures have to be in place, and this is all an added cost for restaurants to operate. So really, we have to think about what the new business model will look like. So EFI has a 5% exposure to the accommodation and food industry, and we really believe that this is one of the industries that we want to put some focus on. Most of our exposure is in Metro Manila and Calabarzon, but we want to start increasing our exposure in the Visayas and Mindanao region. Really, what are our new credit standards? Before, the 5 C's of credit were character, capital, capacity, condition, collateral. Now we have a 6th C, COVID. How will the new business survive in the new normal? How will this business be able to deal with this pandemic? What is their brand position? How will they be able to generate cash flows in the new normal? Industry we like, agriculture and food, is of course up there, because food security is very, very important for our country, not just for the affluent, but for the mass or the mass affluent and the people that are needy of food at the moment. So I really believe that this is a sector that's going to boom in the next 3 to 5 years in the Philippines. Wellness and medical tourism, I believe that's the pivot for tourism in the Philippines. I think the conventional tourism, relying on international tourists, will still take a while before it normalizes. We believe that the industries that really need to pivot are the luxury retail and malling, restaurants, bars, and clubs. They have to figure out their new purpose. Large concerts and sporting events will probably be on hold until the vaccine is out. And international tourism will also be definitely on hold. So if your business is subject to any of these factors, it might be the right time to pivot or transform your business. One of the things that Esquire has focused its CSR efforts in is trying to provide rice for the needy. So we've identified barangays in the areas that are the most poverty famished and the most dense, and we're trying to provide for as low as 3.5 pesos a serving of rice in these areas. For as low as 70 pesos, you can actually feed a family of 4 for a week. So this is really where we focused our CSR efforts as a company. So that's it. I kept my presentation nice and short, and I'm really open up to any questions that anyone might be having.
Thank you so much, Rajan. Thank you for that very
Thank you so much
concise
very much. Very
presentation.
concise, no? Yes.
Yes, and before we ask, we have a lot of questions actually. We'd like to greet our viewers from San Pablo City. We have from, of course, there's a lot: San Pedro, Laguna, Marikina, Albay, Los Baños, Laguna, and we also have Oh, Adaming Laguna. And someone
Yes.
is saying hi to Sir Rajan Arvin Rosas. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Zomato. There's a lot of greeters for Zomato. All right. So
Yeah.
we're ready with a few questions. Tony, go ahead.
Yes, we have a lot here. So we will be reading some of the questions from our pre-registered viewers. And if you do have questions as well, please go ahead. Feel free to use our chat box. I-chat nyo lang po, and we will definitely read that. But to kick off our Q&A for Sir Raj, someone asked how to balance regular staff, but you have lesser customers. So how would we actually do that?
I think at the time that you're operating under the ECQ, you're on a no work, no pay policy. So you actually transition into an output based pay rather than a time based pay. So if you can pay your staff based on the number of meals they're serving or the number of deliveries that they're doing, I think that's better than not paying them at all. Of course, you have to try and advance your sick leaves, vacation leaves, and 13-month. But I think for any company at this point, we really have to transition towards an output based pay rather than a time based pay for our people.
Raj, you mentioned earlier, no, you are very much close to the hearts of the small and medium enterprise, and Esquire has been helping MSMEs for many, many years now. Somebody asked, what can you say about reopening a restaurant, which is a newly restaurant? Is it really good to open a GCQ, or would they rather shift to the to go or delivery?
So I think it really depends on what your brand and your purpose is as a restaurant. I think more than ever, the branding and the positioning of a restaurant matters. And it's not just about the food and the delivery of food. So I believe that if you feel that you can be competitive in the new normal, definitely it makes sense to open. If you can provide a service that's value added for your customers, definitely you should open. In the US, 30% of the employment that has filed for unemployment is from the restaurant industry. So in other countries, about 25% of restaurants don't reopen after being shut down for 1 to 2 months. So of course, if you're able to cope up with the situation, you're generating employment, you're contributing to the country's GDP, you're helping our nation. So I encourage you to open. Don't give up without taking the risk.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for answering that question. We do have another one here. What if the business is non-operational due to location? So, for example, sa mga malls, sa mga schools, mga hotel, and mga bars. So, how can we go about that too?
So you really have to open up when your places start to open. Some of the malls have started offering 5% of revenue as a encouragement for restaurants to actually open for deliveries and for takeout. So I think that this is a great model because it allows restaurants to have a low fixed cost or a variable cost, and they're only paying rent on the meals that they're actually serving. So it's really important for businesses now to move from a high fixed cost business to a completely variable cost business.
Mhm. So, Miss Mice, I think Miss Mice is on mute.
Okay, there's another question. I'm so
There.
excited. There's another question is how to balance sustainability versus safety because this is the new normal.
Mm.
Everything will be different, and restaurants should spend on um, materials like alcohols, disinfectants, face masks, and everything. So, how do you balance the sustainability versus the safety? Is it should be safety first before sustainability, or the other way around?
So for me, I would assume everyone that walks in has the virus, right? So if you're assuming that everyone that walks into your restaurant has the virus, how do you protect your people and how do you protect them from transmitting the virus to other people? So in the way you open, you would really make sure that you're sanitizing on a constant basis and not once a day. You're sanitizing on an hourly basis or an every half an hour basis. You require employees to wash their hands, every hour. You require safety equipment for all of the employees, and then you have a testing policy. where you provide rapid test kits for your employees at least on a weekly or semi-monthly basis to make sure that the people that they're serving are also not at risk.
Right. So what about Sir Raj? Someone asked this question about mga spoilage. Kasi syempre, di ba, pre-COVID, they might have acquired a lot of supplies, tapos
Yep.
biglang nag-down ang mga supplies. So how can they deal with that too?
So I like what Draft did. A lot of their inventory that was actually going to spoil, they actually converted it for donations to hospitals and to places that are struck in poverty, and they paid a little bit of their staff from the proceeds that came from that donations. But they really focused on trying to help people using the inventory rather than throwing it away. You can actually take advantage of this time and really help people out.
Right. That's actually a good way to not waste any resources. Di ba, Miss Mais?
That's true. Oo, kasi ang overhead expenses, there's going to be a lot after this ECQ or GCQ has been lifted and we're going to the new normal. Sir Rajan, this is the magic question. How about the cash flow? Since we are locked down, full closure of businesses, there's no income, no cash flow. What is Esquire's offering to all our MSMEs? Do you have a special program? Should I say a special promo or announcement that you can share with us today?
So we're probably the only lending company that's lending at the moment. Most of the lending institutions and banks have actually stopped lending. So online, if you apply at esquire.ph and share your plans with us, share what you're going to do in the new normal, and if we believe what you're going to do is sustainable in the new normal, we will try and support you to the best of our ability. But really, we'll be looking at what you've been doing during ECQ. You know, if you've just been sleeping around and not pivoting or transforming your business, it will be very, very difficult for us to be able to provide new capital for that business. So I encourage restaurants to, if you haven't already, try and transform, pivot your business, show us what the new normal will look like, and show us how you're operating in the new normal, and give us your forecasts so that we can try and help you or support you get through these times.
Talking about sleep, I think I've been working every day during the
That's what
easy.
we feel, is that entrepreneurs are actually
Yeah.
entrepreneurs are the most resilient. They've actually been working harder during the ECQ and during the GCQ than they were even prior to this. So it's really a good sign. And the SMEs are the most resilient sector and the fastest to change. So silang bumabangon sa una.
That's
Sila yung mga
true.
madidiskarte, di ba?
Yeah.
I can
Diskarte lang
relate.
ang pag-uusapan.
I can relate, Sir Rajan, because I'm into events management business and we don't have any events at all. We had a lot of cancellations and we do not know where we will be back in
But
operation.
I'm sure as an entrepreneur, you've started to do other things.
Yes, I did. That's why I work at home Monday to Friday until actually 10 to 12 midnight.
So you mean to say, Miss Mais,
You're
mas
working
naging
harder
busy
now,
ka
Mike.
But during weekend, I binge. I eat my favorite chips and watch Netflix.
Right, everyone does. So speaking of binge watching, ito to very controversial. I'm not sure if we can address this question, but how can you overcome product changes, especially yung mga may liquor ban, di ba, may alcohol ban tayo? What if my business is about alcohol? So how can I overcome that?
You have to pivot. I mean, change is the only constant in any business. If circumstance doesn't allow you to do something, we shouldn't just take it relaxed. We should always feel that this is a challenge for us. We need to do something new. We need to do something out of the ordinary. We need to reposition our businesses to be able to handle what's coming to us or what's being thrown at us as entrepreneurs.
Right. We do have a question here from our live viewer, from Martin Jose. What is the percentage on loans? And can you also walk us through perhaps on the loan process?
Sure. So the percentage I'm assuming is price. So it depends if it's collateralized or non-collateralized. We offer loans from as low as below 1% a month on the collateralized side to as high as 2 to 3% a month on the non-collateralized side. So it's very affordable for restaurants and businesses. We really want to be a helping hand or a partner to businesses. The application process is quite simple. You apply online on esquire.ph. You submit your application online. You submit your bank statements and requirements online. And if you pass, our account officers will actually get in touch with you and tell you what needs to be done for you to avail of the loan. And if they have any questions or if they have any feedback for why they couldn't approve the loan, they would still be in touch with you and try and give you the advice of how to reapply.
Right.
And I do
Wow.
hope that you will have a special consideration to all our participants for Zomato because
Yeah.
we have registered
Yeah.
restaurants and food business owners here for the Quarantine Zomato series. That's why they're here.
We can
They
have a Zomato service fee discount. So,
Wow. We'll take your word for it,
so
sir.
just tell them to mention Zomato when they're applying.
I think Chris Evans is listening right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
And also, yes,
go
Miss
ahead,
Mais.
Tony. Tony, go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, we'd also like to ask what's the difference of the fintech and the bank? Is there any difference between the two?
I think fintech is really a term which says doing finance using technology. Banks
Mm-hmm.
do finance using technology. Companies that are doing it online use a little bit more technology. Companies that do it partially online and offline use some technology. So I think, fintech versus banks, there's really no difference. It's really how
Mm-hmm.
a company responds to a situation. Like if a company is open for business at this point, I think they're willing to take a risk or willing to invest in the entrepreneurs. And that's really our positioning in Esquire is we don't even want to make money this year. We just want to focus on breaking even and trying to help entrepreneurs by providing funding for their businesses.
Right. I think this is the ayuda that we are looking for, the mga businessmen, the mga SMEs natin. This is the real thing, something that would sustain you to not only to survive and hopefully to thrive in the near future. Di ba, Miss Mais?
Subscribe
20,
to the new
yeah,
normal. Yes.
2020
Mm-hmm.
is really a year of sacrifice. So even if you're not profitable in 2020, but you can provide employment for your people and still break even, you can recover in 2021, you can recover in 2022, but really try to help your people, try to provide everything that they need during this time.
Okay, so Rajan would like to say hi to our friends from Bounce Back Philippines. This link was also shared to the page, and there are around 30,000 members of Bounce Back. And there's also a particular uh, group, private group only for restaurants in Bounce Back, and I hope they are watching right
Wow.
now. Yes,
Hello.
and and to all our participants and viewers from the restaurant industry, please say hi to our on live comments, and please let us know which restaurants you are from, so we can also greet you. So, ito nga, hola, amigos and amigas from Tito's Latin Barbecue and Brew. That's Winslow Justin. Hi, Winslow.
Hello, Winslow. And also, we do have a question here from Dustin Chua. So, ang question niya is, can you expound daw po on payment per output?
So I think payment per output is really payment per unit. So for example, you're doing deliveries or takeout at the moment, and if you're paying your staff 10 pesos per delivery or 20 pesos per delivery or 20 pesos per meal served, that's really getting into a variable pay rather than a fixed pay. So it's not time based, but similar to what Mice was saying, you end up working more. So if your output is actually higher than what you would have done prior to the ECQ, you have the ability to earn more rather than just earning what you would on a daily basis. So it's converting a fixed pay into a variable pay based on units served.
Okay, Rajan, this is very interesting. I don't know if Tony was able to ask this earlier, but I just want to ask. This is a question from Martin Jose. Is your interest rate when they acquire business loan lower than bank?
Bank. Mm-hmm.
So on the collateralized side, it's similar. On the non-collateralized side, we're a little bit higher, but that's because we also borrow from the banks. We really compete on speed rather than on pricing. What we feel is that we're your partners. So we're not the highest in the industry. We're probably one of the lowest in the industry in terms of non-collateral business loans.
All right. Okay, so
So we also
nagugutom ako, Tony. We have
mentioned,
special shout out to our lechon baka, lechon baboy, business owner here na talagang natakam ako, Sir Rajan. Sana mapadalhan tayo ngayon ng lechon baka and lechon baboy.
nagising ng ating mga restaurant owners.
Are you eating lechon, Rajan?
No, I'm actually vegan.
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to keep
sorry.
myself, I
Oh,
want to keep myself
okay.
healthy when this quarantine is done. So
When
I'm
quarantine is
focusing on
done.
juicing and vegan food to build my immunity.
I think the
So what
Zomato team are very excited kasi sabi nila dito, so from Zomato Philippines, we miss lechon. Siyempre, sino bang hindi nakakamiss ng lechon, ano? Tony, you have more question.
Yeah, it actually mukhang walang nagsisiesta sa ating mga participants ngayon. Di ba usually natutulog mga gantong oras, so everyone seems to be really, really active. And also shout out kay Rio Toriano from Cowboy Grill. And also a lot of people here are asking if they can get the presentation. So by the way, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, those who have pre-registered, you would be getting an online kit that includes the presentation of our speakers. Now, for those who were not able to pre-register, you can still catch the video on the Facebook page of Olearn and Zomato. So only those who have pre-registered can be able to acquire the online kit with the presentation. Now we have a question here from Tia de Guzman. We have tried a loan with Esquire and they do release your loan fast and very efficient. Actually, comment siya. So mabilis daw po ang Esquire. Thank you so much from Tia de Guzman.
Tia.
Do you still operate what do you call everyday, Rajan? Do you still have an office operation during the ECQ?
We operate only online. We have no walk-ins. We have no applications that are actually. We don't want to take the risk for our employees that are working out of our office to get exposed to the virus. We actually shuttle our people back and forth from the office just to make sure that they're safe. But we're completely operating online. We've been releasing loans through Lazada online. We've been releasing loans directly on our website online. So this is really in full operation.
Okay. Speaking of restaurant, we have here from Plain Bistro Manila Restaurant. Thank you for this session. And Yeehaw from Cowboy Grill. And from Kashmir Indian Restaurant, Namaste. We have Thali Bilao promos for Mother's Day. Ayan, nag-promote na tuloy.
Mother's Day,
I'm really, it's really great to hear from our restaurants, owners and businesses. Kasi this is one of the hardest hits of all business industry, right, Rajan? Restaurant, hospitality, events, hotels.
Yeah. Restaurant is probably one of the industries that have to pivot the most or transform the most because, like you said, if they can't have customers walking into their restaurants, how do they still survive or remain in business? And when do you think customers will be able to walk back in safely into restaurants?
So, Sir Raj, also there was a question here from one of our pre-registered viewers. Paano maghanap ng investors? So how do we find investors at this point?
So I think if you come up with your vision and your positioning, and you're able to sell your vision and positioning to your family or your friends, they'll be your initial round of investors. Once you've started to grow your business, then it's very easy to look for private equity or debt investors that can help you build your business. But I think getting a strategic family or friend as an investor to support your vision, what's your post-COVID plan? I would ask them, right? What are you going to do to survive in the new normal? And if they have an answer to that question and you like that answer to that question, that's something that, family or friends can really provide the investment for you. Esquire, once you're starting to grow your sales or once you've started to show that your vision is achievable, that's when we come in and really try to help you grow your business.
Right.
That's really nice to
So,
hear. Mm-hmm.
'di ba, tulong-tulong muna yung mga family and all, 'di ba? No one mahirap kumuha ng tulong from,
Yeah.
outside. So whatever it is in the household muna, maybe we can start from there, 'di ba?
Walang maiwan.
Walang may
Totoo
iwan.
yan,
Walang
walang
iwanan.
iwanan.
Yes.
That's better.
Hashtag laban lang. Yan, sa
Laban
ating
lang.
mga restaurant. We have another question kasi di ba this is the new normal and all the restaurants, whether they will shift to delivery or to go or take away, they will also still spend on the sanitation, probably changing the packaging for safety, and most probably, and I believe that they will have to have additional capital for that. So is that okay to apply a loan from Esquire, providing that we know that this is going to be the new normal? They need to
Yeah,
spend on the sanitation.
it never hurts to apply, and as long as we believe in your plans and we feel that you have the cash flows that can support those type of plans, we always take the risk, or we always try and approve the loans, right? So prior to the ECQ, we had a 50% approval rate on applications. So
Okay,
it's
wow.
quite, post ECQ, we have something like a 10 to 15% approval rate. And it's really the businesses that will survive in the new normal who we're trying to extend the most support to. So if you haven't transformed or changed your business, now's the time to do so.
Okay. Well, Tony, you have more question?
I think that would be all from the pre-registered. Let me just check. Parang meron pa akong nakikita dito.
While you're doing that, let's say hi to
Yeah.
all our... Oh, hello, Caviteños. So, Rajan, marami palang nanonood. Siguro maraming restaurants dyan sa Cavite, ano? And
Yeah.
of course, happy Mother's Day to everyone from Zomato Philippines. Greetings from Santa Maria, Bulacan. Ang dami nating greetings. You mentioned earlier, Rajan, the repositioning your business and having to have a new vision or new business model because of the new normal. So, if you're in a restaurant, what are the top 5 tips that you can give to all our viewers?
Mahirap yun, ah.
Sorry
But
to put you in the hot spot. Yeah.
yeah, it's to be honest, I think it's what you feel is your passion. It all has to start with your passion or your vision. If you think that you can service a purpose greater than yourself, then it makes sense to try and operate. We shouldn't be selfish at this time. We should be selfless at this time. So think about helping our people, doing something for the greater good, doing something to build the Philippines, doing something to help the Filipinos. So I think for me, if you ask me, my tip is create a social enterprise. Don't focus on a profiteering enterprise. Create an enterprise that can really help people, and if you do that very well, you'll do well in business.
Right.
Okay,
That's a
that
great tip.
summarized the all the 5 tips in one,
Yeah.
which is the
Dami
most
pa.
important. May question pa
Right.
pala, Tony, from
Well,
our...
yes. From Scorched Smokehouse. Hi there, Raj. Lenny of Scorched Smokehouse. How do you see the interest rate going? Would it go up or go down?
So the benchmark rates have come down. The BSP has provided a lot of liquidity by reducing the reserve requirements and cutting rates. However, the riskiness for banks to lend is at its highest right now. So the spread between the benchmark rate and the lending rate is still quite high. So rates have kind of stayed the same. Lending rates haven't really come down, but deposit rates have come down significantly for investors that have excess funds. So I mean, it's really a sad situation because of we haven't enjoyed the downward spiral of interest rates due to the risk-based pricing banks have, especially at this time.
Rajan, before we have one more question, but is there anything that we can do to help the restaurant business aside from financing them? What if they cannot be approved for finance or financing loans from Esquire. What do you think would be the best? Do they have to change the business or
Reposition,
just
reposition or transform.
reposition?
Yeah,
Reposition.
reposition
Just
or transform. And I think
transform.
Filipinos are the most resilient. So to be honest, I was born and raised here, and I connect to the resilience of being Pinoy. And we're the fastest to change. We're the fastest to adapt. So
Mhm.
entrepreneurs are probably at the forefront of this. So the MSMEs that have restaurants are probably the ones that can reposition the fastest. Kasi yung restaurants, they're used to repositioning. Bagong specials, bagong menu, bagong products. I mean, there's
Mhm.
always some sort of change. Hindi pare-pareho, over the years.
Correct. Parang ano lang yan, Miss Mai, sa events natin, no? Parang no cancellation, we just reschedule. So parang sa restaurant, we just reposition. Walang magkukwit, di ba?
No quitting. And Sir Rajan mentioned earlier a very, very
Tiis
good,
lang.
uh, a very, very good point. To take care of our staff also. No,
Yes, yes,
most
yes.
especially Sir Rajan and Esquire is not operating, pero they consider the safety first of all the staff. So that's important for us to consider as well when we go back and reopen, especially for the restaurant
Mhm.
businesses. That's really
And
important to take care of our staff.
As
there has
leaders
been a
of our
lot.
businesses, the safety of our staff relies on our hands. So if any one of them gets sick, it's on our hands because they're helping us achieve a vision that we're setting for them. So we really have to take care of our people.
Correct. Naku,
Very well
parang
said.
merong very, very important shout out dito from Martin Jose. Mais and Tony, where can I send you Brothers Burger?
Yahoo!
Totoo ba to? So pati si Sir Raj, meron dapat niyan na.
Martin, padalhan mo na
Vegan
rin
eh.
si Sir Raj. Meron ka bang vegan for Sir Raj? Padala mo na rin.
Oo. Brothers Burger, maraming salamat in advance. We'll get in touch with you later on.
Yes,
Send it to
please.
someone in need. It'll make me happy.
Yes. I remember you also mentioned earlier the hashtag kain tayo, and you were able to provide rice for a family of 4 for only 75 pesos. Can you share that quickly, Sir
Yes.
Rajan?
Yeah, so we're working with an organization called Chummy Chum, and the basic necessity for every person is a carbohydrate. And before you get sustenance, you need to have energy or a carbohydrate. And rice is the simplest way to be able to provide this. So for as low as 75 pesos, you can provide 20 servings of rice to a family of 4 for 1 week. So this is a program that we've adopted or we're participating in as Esquire, and we really think that not just until the ECQ ends, but even post this, if you want to be able to participate, you can either donate directly into Kain Tayo or through Lazada. This is really a program that we feel closely to. Let's try and provide sustenance for the people that don't have it at the moment.
Thank you. That's really,
Ayan,
really
maraming
nice to hear.
salamat.
Yeah.
Correct.
Can we also share the number of Esquire? I think if we can flash it on screen, where to
Yes,
get in
email
touch
address.
with Esquire Financing.
So
Rajan, go
we're
ahead.
now in the digital age, so we'll share a website. Esquire.ph kasi we have no one to answer your phone. Contact us online.
Ayan, esquire.ph. Take note of that one. And
Yeah.
also, I think this, if Chris is watching right now, we have one viewer here, Valerie Angeline from Bulacan. We would love to have Zomato services looking into building the food or farming industry so the province is sustainable on its own. So I think Zomato can also explore sa mga regional areas natin. So yes, thank you, Valerie. Definitely that suggestion would be taken into account.
Maganda
Thank
yan.
you. Maganda. Sir Rajan,
Salamat.
since you've been here in the Philippines now for quite a while, ano na rin, puso, Pinoy. And thank you very much for helping all the MSMEs. And we hope that we can also support you. And thank you so much for being here, for joining us for the Zomato first Philippine digital event. At sana maging Zomato Global na, no? Where we can
Yes.
access the different parts of their, kung saan sila mayroong offices or branches. Diba? Okay, so before we wrap up, Tony, we would like to call
Thank you.
again. Yes, please stay with us, Sir Rajan,
Yes, stay with
because
us.
we would like to say thank you to you. May we call on our head of business, Zomato Philippines, Mr. Chris Evans.
Hey guys, thank you, Raj. Some great insights there, and they extended a lot further than just the financial aspect of businesses. I think there was some great operational insights into the operations of restaurants, how restaurants are going to have to pivot if they haven't already. And, we're going to explore on Friday a lot of the different technologies that are available or that are being born out of the current challenges that are going to help restaurants in their operations. The one thing that I would say, having been in and around restaurants for the last 25 years, globally, I guess, certainly, in Australia and overseas, financials, there's usually, 3 or 4 buckets that restaurateurs have their skills in, and it's either brand and marketing or finances or the operations side of the business. And the one thing that I've probably noticed in my 25 years is the one thing that is the least focused on within the restaurant industry is quite often the financial side. Whereas I think what this crisis is showing and what we'll see on the other side of this is that that's going to have to change. I think, all of the owners out there, if you're not already, will need to be all across your finances and cost of goods and things like that. Again, not to make profit, but purely to survive. And I like the social enterprise aspect that Raj mentioned in relation to, let's not worry about 2020. We can make that back up in 21 and 2022. So again, on behalf of Zomato, I'd like to thank Raj from Esquire Financial for imparting valuable insights and inspiration on the topic of financing your restaurant for today's session. So just handing out some virtual certificates today. We're also very grateful to our amazing moderators once again, Mice and Tony, for joining us and sharing your talents with us today. And thank you in advance again for sharing those talents with us on Friday. And of course, our official e-learning partner, O'Learn, for making this event possible. That's one other thing I think that's come out of this crisis is there's probably millions more people that now know of O'Learn and the amazing platform that they have for learning and virtual experiences like this one. So on that note, thank you all once again, and thank you to all of the attendees and viewers. Hopefully you got something out of that, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday afternoon as well.
Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Chris. Salamat.
Maraming salamat,
so
Sir
much.
Rajan.
Thank you, Sir Raj.
Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
All right. Wow, grabe. So that actually concludes day 2. You know what? Ang realization ko for this episode or for this webinar, kahapon, on last Monday, we talked about branding, diba? So we take a look at how to reconstruct or reposition the business. And now we're giving that hope, that hope for this SMEs, for these restaurateurs na, yes, we still have something to look forward to despite of what happened. So that's actually my main takeaway for this webinar. Ikaw, Miss Mais, what's your major takeaway?
Well, my key takeaway is to reposition, know your vision, and come up with a new business model. And love na love ko talaga yung sinabi ni Sir Raja that we have to take care of our staff, their safety, and we have to consider them in planning for the new normal, of course. And the rest, all the restaurant and food business industry, we really have to pivot. And Esquire Financing will help us out if we need funds or if we need a business loan. just feel free to submit all the requirements to Esquire Financing. Tama si Sir Rajan, online na po, pwedeng-pwede na.
Right.
Pwede
Right.
mag-submit
Madali
ng
na.
form. Madali na.
Correct.
And of course, ang key takeaway ko, maraming salamat sa Brothers Burger na nag-offer ng...
Yes, we will definitely get in touch with you later, Brothers Burger. I am
Yes.
looking forward to that.
Medyo natakam ako. Thank you, Martin Jose. Hanapin niyo na lang kami sa FB ni Tony.
Oo nga eh.
Thank you to all. Yes.
Salamatan natin yung ating mga event partners, of course.
Okay, maraming salamat po sa ating e-learning o learn partner, Geyser Maklang, of course, ADA. Thank you so much to Sir Jason Cruz, Analytics Data Advertising. Last May 4, nandito po sila ni Miss Amor Maklang. Esquire Financing, Fueling Dreams, Paymaya, Angkas, PMCM Events Management, Tony Bilaro, the total host. Of course, ang ating very engaging and interactive viewers via All-Learn, Zomato Facebook, Esquire Financing Facebook, and also Bounce Back Facebook. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, tune us again on Friday. Last leg na natin yan, May 8, for our third and final webinar. Yes, we will be having...
Mamimiss ko to.
I can just do this every day. I can do this every day. So on Friday, guys, we will have not one, not two, but three tatlong guests. So of course, we have Mr. Chris Evans of Zomato. We will also have Mr. Paul Betia of Paymaya and Mr. George Rieka of Angkas. And we will now talk about the future of restaurant industry post-COVID-19. So abangan natin yan on Friday.
Yes. Thank you. Abangan ko rin ang pa-pizza party ni Sir Chris Evans kasi that would be our last hurrah for quarantine sa lahat po ng nakikinig dyan na from the pizza restaurant and parlor. Pwede po kaming tumikim ni Sir Tony.
Yes. Sa ating mga restaurateur, again, shout out to everybody. Marami buong Pilipinas na nanonood sa atin ngayon. So maraming salamat po.
All right. So please don't forget to follow Zomato Philippines on Facebook and Instagram for more details. Let's continue to help each other in any way we can sa lahat po ng mga restaurant businesses in the food industry. Kaya natin to, laban lang. Once again, my name is Mai Sandico of PMCM Events Management.
And this is Tony Bilaro, hashtag the total host. Maraming salamat po. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you on Friday.
Bye!